David says, why is orthodox finger spin so prevalent in women's cricket? Lack of power to take them down, or just that wrist mystery spin is it where it quite needs to be compared to the men? So a big part of this, and I don't know if everyone knows, but the ball is a lot smaller. Um, but even with the ball being smaller for women's cricket, there haven't been traditionally as many women with huge long fingers or big hands being able to rip the ball. So a lot of the finger spin that you have seen traditionally in women's cricket has been what we would call rollers. So if you've ever seen someone down in your nets, David, and they're basically just ripping the hand around, almost like an off cutter, that's essentially what most off spin is, or finger spin has been in women's cricket. That is changing, and you're seeing that with someone like Sophie Eccleston, who actually gives the ball a proper tweak, and then you're seeing the wrist spinners rise. So I do think that the athletes are getting a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, more athletic with the way they're going. And we don't think about spin as a form of athleticism. I've talked about this before, with Shane Warne. His athleticism was one of the things that we undervalued, and partly because traditional athlete as well. Harath is probably another one, right? But the athletic skills that they do possess, longer fingers. There's a great old photo of Lance Gibbs, if you want to do Lance Gibbs' hands, and you get to see the sort of size. And if you've ever met Ashley Giles, he's another one where you see the size of his hands. Monty is another one, just phenomenal sized hands, and also the strength that some of them have in their wrists and their shoulders and all these sorts of things is incredible. And I think as more athletes come in, and I think that it's very hard to be a rolling leg spinner. You generally, as a leg spinner, your big advantage is the amount of revolutions you can put on the ball. Uh, you know, and I think from that perspective, then you certainly got a point of what's the best way of putting this. Rolling it probably doesn't give as much advantage when you're bowling wrist spin, whereas rolling it with finger spin can give you some advantages. The other thing I would say is that because women were shorter, they quite often would bowl with sort of more round arm actions. They were keeping the ball very, very low with finger spin. And you see a lot of finger spinners bowling in the death in T20 cricket, in women's cricket, and sometimes even one day cricket. And that's because they can be very hard to get up and under because they are bowling from a far lower height than most men are. So I do think all those things sort of came in. It's a really good question, though. I'm trying to think if I don't think I've ever talked to anyone in women's cricket about this. So I will try and actually, I've got a friend who's a bowling coach in women's cricket. I might try and run him by it one time and see if there's anything else I've missed.